going to do that. Hello, and welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time on any particular given day. And on this particular given day, it's August 25th. And throughout history, here's a story. In 1910, Dorothea Tanning was born. Pronounced that right? Dorothea? Maybe? I'm gonna say so. I don't know. Let the world judge me. A surrealist painter from 30s, 40s. Fantastic work. There's a whole bunch of female surrealist painters that I feel like sadly get overlooked, her being one of them, by way of like people like Dali, and some of the Dadaists that get wrapped up in this as well. And Dorothea Tanning deserves all the praise. It's good stuff, great stuff. Also on this day in 1951, the Lubbock Lights UFO incident occurred. The Haunting of Hill House, the full story here, which was directed by Robert Wise, premiered on this day in 1963. This is the Shirley Jackson novel, the Shirley Jackson photoplay paperback novelization. Well, no, not novelization. It's just the novel as is. But yeah, this is one of my favorite films. Robert Wise worked with Val Lewton. I like that I keep bringing Val Lewton back into this, even though it hasn't been like a really landmark day for him yet. But basically everything somehow is like tied to him. He's like, 7 degrees from Val Lewton. So Val Lewton was a producer in the 40s who did a series of film noir horror films on little to no budget. And so in getting around that, he decided to like not depict the monster. There's just like darkness, and the camera is like vague in what's happening. And in the process, it was frightening for the audience because they realized that the audience was projecting their worst fears on what they couldn't see. And so Val Lewton was the producer, although really he was like the behind the scenes person because he was working with some not well established directors yet. People like Paul Robeson, Robert Wise, Jacques Tourneur being Maurice Tourneur's son, which is a whole other story. But so all three of those fledgling directors really took their guidance from Val Lewton, who knew just what he was looking for. And I'm going to say Val Lewton died in the late 40s, maybe early 50s, but left a legacy. The people who he trained took what they learned and put it towards their own work as they continued on in Hollywood for the next several decades. So Jacques Tourneur did Curse of the Demon, while they fought tooth and nail to not show the Asmodeus character. He lost, but it's still a fantastic film regardless, and there's lots of Val Lewton-esque moments in there anyway. I forget what horror films Paul Robeson did afterwards, but he definitely worked in horror at times. Robert Wise, who did Haunting, also did Day the Earth Stood Still. Similarly, like, what can't you see, and how much tension can you build up by not like letting that release in some form or another. The Haunting, though, is one of those fantastic films that just kind of like hits at like the right moment. They have such great ability to adapt this story, be it with the production value, the actors involved, the crazy sets. It's like kind of a perfect movie. I've been asked before, like, what's like your favorite movie or what's the scariest movie, and I'd say they almost are all, if they're not necessarily Val Lewton movies, but they're movies that are in the Val Lewton school, be it directly or indirectly. So like Burn Witch Burn, Curse of the Demon, The Innocents, The Haunting. These are all, it's like, the pinnacle of frightening while not being exploitative and building tension. And these are like master craftsmen, mid-century master craftsmen, which you could just move into this Hill House. This master craftsman Hill House is open and available for you to move into. Do you dare spend the night? Also on this day, 1964, Erie Von was born. I had some trouble here thinking, like, what was I going to do for Erie Von? Because I could do a bunch for Erie Von. This book here, Misery Obscura, he put out I don't know, was it 10 years ago? Maybe? It's great. It's all his personal photos, going like Rosemary's Babies and, early Misfits and all this stuff here. And then him and Sam Hain. And then him and Danzig. It's, this is just a labor of love. So if you haven't bought this book, buy this book. I think he's working on a second one, but in the meantime, buy the first one. It's available at better bookstores everywhere. Yeah. I was actually going to say I have like a bunch of Erie Von original silver prints of like photos he took of the Misfits, signed and numbered, and they're beautiful, but they're in a location in the house that I have to really kind of like take things down. And next birthday, or when you come over, folks, I'll give you a tour when you come over. Yeah, whomever you are. Also on this day, 1979, Lucio Fulci's Zombie premiered. We could always use some more zombies fighting sharks, right? So that right there kind of cements it as one of the most ridiculous films probably ever made. And worth remembering on the day it premiered, 1979. All right, that is it for today. I'm going to go about my day. Let the day begin, and let's listen to some Sam Hain and celebrate Erie Von. What do you say? That's what I'm going to do. What you're going to do, I don't know. Till later, goodbye.